Maps transform us. They make birds of us all. They reveal the patterns of our existence and unlock our cages. If it wasn't for that map, a second-hand ordnance survey given as a Christmas present, maybe none of this would have happened. It was New Year's Eve, and I lay on the bed with the town unfolded before me. I felt tired, constrained, racked with cabin fever. I needed to get out. From a circle of biro drawn around my new house, I flew up and over the unfamiliar rooftops and roads, past shops, schools, hair salons and bookmakers, seeking the nearest open ground. Below me, suburbia slunk down a shallow hill towards an endless patchwork of delineated farmland. Hemmed in between the two, I saw it, a tract of white paper, tree symbols, and the varicose vein of a river. It lured me down, eyes to paper, body to freezing earth. Somewhere a bell struck 5 as I cut through the start-stop traffic of the ring road. Exhaust fumes swirled fog-like, landlocked by the plummeting temperature. Underfoot, the afternoon rain was hardening into a slippery film. Frost-feathered lawns. That peculiar post-Christmas malaise, thick with burning coal, pressed down on the houses. As the shriveled sun disappeared into the mass of pitched roofs, chimney stacks and telegraph wires, I flowed on past a plastic Santa on a roof with no chimney and along a trench of emerging streetlights. Either side of me, rows of Victorian terraces morphed into post-war semis before, finally, modern red-brick boxes whirled off the road in car-cluttered cul-de-sacs. Then after a mile of walking, even their low walls and privet hedges began to thin. Through the gaps, the dark, dank countryside of northern England rose like a great black wave. At the bottom of the hill, a rough track bisected the road suddenly and steadfastly, tracing a contour with 19th-century arrogance. It was a definitive border. Light and vegetation were in accord. Dimness shrouded the land beyond. Among the bare blackthorn, ash, and spider-limbed elder, I spied relics, soot-blackened sandstone walls, riveted iron plates, and the overgrown ditch and mound of a siding. It all uttered a single word: railway. A footstep, and I had crossed from the bright lights and right angles of bulbs and bricks into black bushes and trees whose infinitesimal branches overlapped the track, like hair growing over a scar. Unwittingly, the railway was fulfilling a different function now. This was the high water mark of the sprawl. Suburbia washed against its southern bank in a mass of rickety fences and scattered bin bags, disemboweled by brambles. Down its northern side, the town dissolved into something other, a kind of wildness. Winter-beaten meadows stretched into wood before the earth rose again as field and hill that met sky in an unbroken ridge. I hunkered down by a fence and tried to take it all in. Nothing stirred. There were hints of shapes forming in the distance, stands of larch, pylons, barns, but they were impossible to distinguish. The road I'd followed narrowed and wandered past a squat pub crouching in a hollow, then became lost in the rawness of fields. Tarmac turned to footpath, footpath into soil. Marking the border on opposite sides of the road were 2 vast oaks 30 metres high. Entwined above me, their limbs created an arch, ancient sentinels guarding a forgotten world. I knew it, though. The urban fringe, the no-man's land between town and country. This was the edge of things. I can't say what imperceptible force drew me there, only that I needed to reach it. That frontier called me. Maybe a speck of its soil carried in a starling's foot had been drawn down deep into my respiratory system, circulating around my bloodstream and lodging on my temporal lobes, establishing itself as a point of reckoning. Whatever it was, I felt a sense of returning, like a bee to a hive. Weeks had passed since I'd left London with the weightlessness of new horizons in Yorkshire, the place I'd grown up, but far from being the liberating experience I'd imagined, moving house had proved to be an imprisonment. For too long I'd been stuck in an unending cycle of working, painting walls and unpacking boxes, sleeping fitfully in rooms that stank of gloss, acid in my throat, numbed by the cold of open windows. I'd find a whole day had slipped by as I sifted through collections of things that suddenly seemed to belong to a previous life. I'd hardly ventured into the world outside. Soon the shortening days and wintry gloom made familiarizing myself with new surroundings even harder. All my routines were jumbled. Every light switch was in the wrong place. In truth, the act of handing over the keys to my London flat had signified a greater shift, present to past. All the maps I had once navigated my life by, the routes to work, streets, cafes, flats, parks, and pubs, were redundant. They covered a region 220 miles to the south. I was stuck somewhere else, between tenses, between spaces, between lives.